Echoes from the Quarry, 1991, 02:07 a.m., hidden body on the morning of March 14, 1991, the stillness of Ravensbridge Quarry was broken by the sound of a single gunshot. It was 2:07 a.m. The shot echoed across the water, startling a group of teenagers who had gathered near the old stone crusher to drink away the winter cold. They fled, their bicycles scattering across the gravel path. By dawn, the quarry had returned to silence, but something else had been disturbed, a secret that would take years to unravel. Ravensbridge was a village of some 1,200 souls, nestled in the rolling hills of County Durham, England. The quarry had been abandoned for decades, its massive crater filled with groundwater that turned an eerie green in the summer and froze to black ice in winter. Locals avoided it after dark. The old workers' hut, with its rusted corrugated roof, stood like a sentinel on the eastern bank. It was here, on a patch of mud and stone, that a walker named Thomas Brady discovered what remained of a human body on the morning of March 15. Thomas, a retired miner in his 60s, had taken his dog for a morning stroll along the public footpath that skirted the quarry's edge. At 7:40 a.m., his terrier began barking furiously at the underbrush near the hut. Thomas approached, expecting a fox or a discarded bag. Instead, he found the remains partially concealed by a tarpaulin that had been weighted down with stones. The body was lying on its side, fully clothed, the face turned away. Thomas did not touch anything. He walked back to his car and called the police. The police arrived within 20 minutes. Scenes of crime officers sealed the area, their white suits moving carefully across the mud. The forensic team, led by Detective Inspector Elaine Whitfield, began the painstaking process of documentation. The body was that of a young woman, later identified as Sarah Mitchell, aged 24, of no fixed abode. She had been reported missing by her mother, Patricia Mitchell, on March 8, 1991, after failing to return from a night shift at the Riverside Diner in the nearby town of Bishop's Wearmouth. Sarah Mitchell was 5 feet 4 inches tall, with auburn hair pulled back into a loose ponytail. She was last seen leaving the diner at approximately 11:30 p.m. on March 7, walking towards the bus station on Footnote Street. She was wearing a navy blue coat, black jeans, and brown leather boots. Her mother described her as vivacious, a young woman who had recently enrolled in an evening class in computer studies. She had no known enemies, no history of violence, and no criminal record. The post-mortem examination, conducted by Dr. Hugh Ashford at Bishop's Wearmouth General Hospital, revealed that Sarah had died from a single gunshot wound to the head. The bullet had entered the left temporal region and exited through the right. No projectile was recovered from the scene, suggesting the killer had removed it. The body showed no signs of sexual assault, though decomposition was advanced, consistent with exposure to the elements for at least a week. Dr. Ashford estimated that death had occurred between March 7 and March 9, placing the killing shortly after Sarah's disappearance. The investigation quickly expanded. Detective Inspector Whitfield, a 20-year veteran of Durham Constabulary, assembled a team of 30 officers. They interviewed the staff and patrons of the Riverside Diner, the drivers of the late-night buses, and the residents of the council estate where Sarah had been living with her mother. A composite sketch was produced from the description of a witness who claimed to have seen Sarah arguing with a man outside the diner at approximately 11:15 p.m. on March 7. The man was described as white, in his early 30s, with a shaved head and a scar running from his left eyebrow to his cheek. He was seen driving a dark blue Ford Sierra with a cracked rear windscreen. The Ford Sierra became a central focus. In the days following the discovery, police traced the vehicle to a man named Derek Joel Prentice, 32, a former employee of the Ravensbridge Quarry Company who had been made redundant 2 years earlier. Prentice lived in a static caravan on the outskirts of Ravensbridge, in a cul-de-sac known as Quarry Close. He had a history of minor offending, including breach of the peace and criminal damage, but no convictions for violence. When questioned, Prentice denied any involvement in Sarah's death. He claimed he had been at home on the night of March 7, watching television with his girlfriend, Lisa Telford. Lisa corroborated his alibi, stating they had gone to bed around midnight. The police searched Prentice's caravan and found nothing incriminating. However, an informant came forward in April, claiming that Prentice had confided in a pub regular that he had gotten rid of someone and that the body was where no one would look. This statement was never verified in court. Prentice declined to take a polygraph test, and the case remained open. In May, a second witness emerged. Margaret Hale, a 67-year-old retired schoolteacher, told police she had been driving past the quarry at approximately 2:00 a.m. on March 8 when she observed a dark car parked near the old hut. She noted that the headlights were switched off. As she passed, she saw a figure standing beside the vehicle, holding what appeared to be a long object wrapped in a cloth. Mrs. Hale was certain of the time because her car's digital clock displayed 2:07 a.m., and she remembered thinking it was an odd hour to be near the quarry. She could not identify the figure's gender or features, but she confirmed the car was a dark saloon, consistent with the Ford Sierra. Despite these accounts, the Crown Prosecution Service concluded that there was insufficient evidence to charge Derek Prentice. The case was officially filed as unsolved in December 1991, though it remained open for review. In 1998, the quarry was sold to a developer for a housing project. During the excavation, workers discovered a second grave approximately 30 meters from the site of Sarah's body. The remains were those of a man, later identified through dental records as James Whitby, a drifter who had been reported missing in 1989. Whitby had also died from a gunshot wound to the head. His case was never linked to Sarah's, and no arrests were made. To this day, the murder of Sarah Mitchell remains unsolved. Derek Prentice died in a house fire in 2003, an incident ruled accidental by the Fire Investigation Service. Lisa Telford moved away and could not be traced for comment. The man with the scar, if he ever existed, was never identified. The Ford Sierra was never recovered. The quarry has been transformed into a residential estate. The old hut was demolished, and the water is now fringed with willow trees. Yet, for those who remember, the name Sarah Mitchell evokes a lingering question. Who was the man with the scar, and why did he choose the quarry as a final resting place? The echo of that gunshot, if one listens carefully, still resonates in the quiet of the night, a reminder that some secrets refuse to stay buried.